So here we are leaving Scotch Corner services on the southbound side, and we stayed in this travel lodge overnight, which doesn't look the most salubrious, but then come on, when does a travel lodge? Although this one does have the growth on the roof as well. But actually, as travel lodges go, that was exceptionally clean, recently decorated, new carpets, and really helpful staff there, and a lovely comfortable bed. And inside with the double glazing, I thought, oh goodness me, because we're facing this car park, it might be a little bit of a noisy experience, but it wasn't. The car is performing great. I've just checked a couple of things and everything is fine, but today is the real long one. Yesterday was should have been about a 4-hour journey from Norwich up to here. But because of an accident on the A17 and a diversion, and just general, weight of traffic, it took more than 5 hours to reach here. But today we're going all the way to Inverness, and we're going what I call the West Coast route. So we'll be doing M6. So we'll literally be going down to Scotch Corner and taking the A66 westward, rather than carrying up the A1. Simple reason is, last time I went to Scotland, I did the A1 all the way, and that was to go to Edinburgh. So although this way is slightly longer, time-wise, not much in it, this way is going to take about 5 hours and 23 minutes, and the A1 way is going to take about 5 hours and 14 minutes, I think. Ways was a prediction. Traffic is building. I'm sure we're going to have some issues on the M6, but nonetheless we will see how we go and enjoy the scenery. So a long way to go in a small car. There is something about when you have a little car like this that people kind of, I don't know, expect, oh, it's doing really well, oh, well done car, particularly as it's coming up to 13 years old. And you might sort of expect that something like, a Range Rover Evoque or something can shrug long journeys off. But the main thing is everything's running as it should do. And so let's get underway. And I'll be settling into my truck driving taco rules. So that's how I basically do my driving, in line with those. I've got an app on my phone, so I stop either for a 15-minute or every 4 hours. Basically you can have 3 15-minute breaks in 4 hours, or a single 45. So meanwhile we've got our sweets ready at the go. Sheila's matching the seat covers. So yeah, it's going to be fun, and I'll try and remember and get Sheila to do some filming as well later on, more as it happens. So here we are, we left the travel lodge at Scotch Corner and we came down the road to the infamous Barnard Castle, which we're just leaving now, because it was only, well, it's not only, it's on our way. Basically, it's a short diversion off the A66, and the fuel was a lot cheaper there than it was of the A1. So that is what we are doing. So we're now heading back towards the A67. We're on the A67, sorry, and we're heading now, I suppose this is the River Tees, but we're getting back to where we were.
Turn right onto A67, the Silves. Then turn left onto Deerbolt Bank.
Right, okay, thank you. So it's very picturesque around here, but yeah, we're heading towards the A66, and then
turn left, then turn right onto Deerbolt Bank.
Yes, all right, ways, thank you. So we're heading back towards the A66, and then we've got 5 hours, and I should have gone down there. Oh, Robin, London U-turn. Oh my God. The roads are already falling apart. Yes, Waze, don't worry about it. I'm correcting straight away. I don't know if that's called in London U-turn.
In 700 feet, make a U-turn onto Grasshome Way.
Don't need to, mate.
Turn right onto A67, Bowes Road.
Oh, and the SLK feeling heavy. 2
At the
people,
roundabout,
luggage and a
take
fuel
the second
tank.
exit onto A66 West. Go straight on for 40 minutes to A66 West.
Right, let's start again, shall we? So we're leaving behind Barnard Castle, we're heading towards the A66, and we've got about, well, with the traffic, I can't believe it's going to be what Waze is telling me, so more than 5.5 miles. And we'll be going via the M6, so there's going to be some pretty scenery coming up later, and then I think it's A74 and then A9 all the way to Inverness, and we're staying at a hotel that's a new build at the airport because you get more for your money, a considerable amount more for your money, and then we're just driving to Inverness, so we're spending a couple of nights in Inverness, and then I don't know where we're going. We'll be coming back, however, via the east coast, probably by Edinburgh, and I'll be in touch with a friend of mine there, Russell. If you're free and we're that way, maybe we will be able to meet this time, but probably not because of your work patterns and stuff. So anyway, that's basically the update. So here we are, we're on the A66 and we've got some beautiful scenery. Now I may well have once growing up been driven along this way by my dad. I can't really tell. I think we did because of these marker posts by the side of the road, and I believe they're for when it's pretty horrendous conditions and snowy, you know where the actual road is when everything's white. And it's because we're very fortunate today that it is dry and bright, and there's even some blue sky, but of course a lot of the times this is not at all lovely and is, you know, raining or misty or goodness knows what, but it just looks lovely. In fact, may pull over in one of the parking laybys coming up and just take a couple of photos. Car's having to work hard on some of the hills. It's got a full fuel tank, 2 people in it, and 2 heavy cases and a bunch of shopping in the boot. We're currently at 1400 feet above sea level. In the command thing for, if you just plan forward, I'll show down here in the car there's a setting for the compass, and it will give you your actual height and your obviously coordinates and stuff. That's just handy to have a look down. We're going to be coming down now, but if you see out the front window there, the mountains in the distance. So we're literally going across the country, the sort of the middle of the country. And very nice it is too. So here we are now on the M6, which is going to basically be us all the way until we pick up the A74, and it's going really well actually. For anyone that wonders, you know, oh, this is more because I'm going to be posting these videos on the SLK Owners Forum as well, you know, about taking your SLK for a longer trip. They are great touring cars. They swallow a lot of luggage, which you might be surprised with the boot capacity. Now I can only talk of experience with the 350, but we're just cruising along here at bang on 70 mile an hour. We're doing about 2,250 RPM. Nice and smooth. The road surface is quite there's a quiet bit. So there's no engine noise, there's very little wind noise. Depending on the road surface, they do let in more road noise because there's not as much, you know, insulation like as some cars do have now in wheel arches and everywhere to try and cut that down. Because the microphone on this phone that we're using will pick up that probably more. But cruise control on, everything is nice to hand, if you know, especially if you're just on your own and you need to, you know, grab a drink. People complain about these drink holders not being good, or, you know, the risk of spilling stuff down here. But the answer is, before you set off, take a few sips of drink to get it a bit lower than the top, and then it won't spill out over bumps. And then, you know, it's easy and easy out. It's more convenient than something down here to me. Really nice, easy to use. Everything lays to hand here. Plus you've got your, you know, driving buttons here for answering calls, volume, etc. So it's a really, I find, comfortable car to do long distancing. Really comfortable seats as well. So yeah, the only issue I suppose is other cars around you. Because you're a bit low down and small, with more and more traffic now, you know, preferring SUVs. If you're by the side of someone and they're indicating left, for example, just presume they haven't seen you, because I find that we just came off a roundabout and a Range Rover Evoque was in the wrong lane and just started to come across because I knew he hadn't seen me. So that's my only sort of thing, but you just get used to that sort of defensive driving and being very aware around you. There are some blind spots in these cars with the pillars, especially over your right shoulder kind of thing. On earlier models the wing mirrors were smaller as well, so I do recommend one of those little blind spot mirrors, which just gives you that extra little wide view, you know, when you're pulling out or over here. But otherwise, great cars for touring in, very comfortable, not too firm suspension. We've got lovely weather for it, the rain's gone, the wind's died down, the sun is out. We're 4 miles away from Carlisle, as you can see. So yeah, life is good. I'll update you as we go on. We've got another 4 hours and 15 minutes ahead of us. So here we are, we're on the we're on the M80, no, we're on the M73 heading towards the M80. Glasgow is behind us, and we did stop again briefly for a bite to eat. I think it's Carn Lodge Services, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. As you can probably tell out the window, traffic is moving freely. And now we're in Scotland. It's a bit like when you come into Belgium. You notice the roads deteriorate. They're not all bad, but generally speaking, they're not always the best with potholes. 2 hours and 50 minutes left, apparently. Drive, very interesting with the changing landscapes, and more of it to come. So you join us here on the A9 through the roadworks, which are varied between 40 and 30 miles an hour with average speed cameras. Lovely. I can understand if it was like 50 mile an hour, but 40 seems a little bit too slow. But anyway, I'm sure it'll all be worth it when it opens. And it's not often that you get on your sat nav, follow the road ahead for 102 miles and then turn left. But that is exactly what we've got to do. And if my camera lady just shows you the screen, I don't know if she can reach over here, with the 101 miles now and then a left-hand turn. You only really get that when you're in Europe. But it's been a lovely drive one way and the other with the changing scenery and stuff. Obviously Scotland is known for its speed cameras, whether they're static or average, and I must admit the driving tends to be pretty good. Everybody, you know, keeping within limits. It's certainly a lot different to if you're used to what people do around London, and you know, M11 and A406, some of the letters on there. Car has been, let's see what our average is, 35.1 miles to the gallon. We've been maintaining a 55 mile an hour average speed. We've been going 226 miles since Scotch Corner, and taking account of our stops, which we've had a couple of and had lunch and stuff, we've been going for 4 hours and 10 minutes. So yeah, it's all going well. Not much to see other than this roadworks. Welcome to the Highlands. So we're about 4 miles away from our destination. It hasn't been an eventful journey, which has been good. I did stop off, get out the car at parking lane, but I immediately regret it, with lots of little midges and stuff that flocked around me, and then they got in the car as well. So I'm not quite sure about this whole top-down cruising around Loch Ness we've got planned for tomorrow, but what with the average speed restrictions on the A9 of 60 mile an hour, and also generally just sticking to the speed limits exactly. For example, 70 mile an hour cruise is actually 68 mile an hour overground by GPS. We've done an average of 55 miles an hour. We've been 325 miles so far, and our fuel consumption has averaged out 36.5 miles to the gallon. So for a big 3.5 litre V6, I don't think that's bad going at all. So yes, we're coming into Inverness now, down this long hill, and it has been an exciting time with all the mountains and the scenery and everything. Blimey, talk about sort of coming into land to a city, eh? Very big drop. There's a pop in, and then look at that beautiful view ahead of us. I'll just let this record and I'll shut up. And now I'll start speaking again, because the reason why Inverness is when I passed my driving test, which was in 2018, I wanted to come here as the first, like, pass my driving test, get in a car, come to Inverness, but it didn't quite work out like that. but it wasn't far off